Sorry about that. I had a little trouble getting my link to work this morning, but it seems okay now. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I will call this meeting of the IT Steering Committee to order for Thursday morning, July 21st, 2022. Thanks to everybody for joining today. I appreciate it. And as I said in my email that I sent around, I'm sorry that we've kind of had this committee a little bit inactive for the last month or so. I think Great Island and a few other things have contributed to general distraction. But it
Not
looks
here, not at all. No.
not at all. But the light at the end of the tunnel may in fact not be a train, or at least probably not here, given the reliability of Metro North. But I think we can certainly turn our attention and kind of refocus and get our committee going again. So over the last several days, you'll recall from our discussions in May when we had our last meeting that we'd kind of separated into 4 small working groups focused on 4 areas. Issue resolution, which was everything on Jeff Adams' list that are things that he'd like to try to move forward, and we would try to help prioritize and quantify those ideas. The second one was efficiency and what we could do to try and capture and mimic some of the private sector efficiencies that some of you guys would see. The third was citizen service and improving the IT interaction, if you will, between government and the people we serve. And then fourth is just taking a look at outsourcing and trying to decide whether our current outsourcing arrangements are the best they could be, and just basically what else could we do. So since sending that out over the last week, I've talked to all of our committee leaders, and I've had a chance to kind of refresh and reset these subcommittees with them. And so what I'd like to do today is to hear from each one of those. I think I forget who's, let's see, David Young, I think, is going to be late. So I'll either put him at the end, and then we will I'll either summarize it for him if he's not able to join, or he can speak. So why don't we start off? I think Jeff Krause is here, and I will let you, Jeff, talk a little bit about your group, which is around Jeff Adams and the various issues he's got on his list. Go ahead.
Top of mind topics. Thank you, John. Just an update here on what we have prioritized. So the team sat down, obviously, with Jeff as a key part here, and went through the list of current and in-process activities where he could use some help and push to get over the line or to deal with the topic. So I'm going to go down through what the 4 key areas are that we're talking about and kind of where we are in the process of considering them. So first off is a set of policies. We have a set of 5 IT related or technology related policies that are in that we believe need to be in place or should be in place for the proper functioning of our technology operations. And of those 5 policies that we have, 4 of them we have drafts of that are in more of a templated style very generic policies that need to be effectively customized for our situation here in Darien and where we believe that the specifics are need to go. So in particular, the security incident policy. So 3 of the 5 policies relate to disaster recovery or information security. And so what we're doing with those, one in particular, which is identifying the specific security incidents that we need to document our preparation for and what the sequence of action should be or prioritization were something to go wrong, getting that kind of customized to our specific needs, and then putting that in place. The others are an acceptable use policy on technology of the towns. And the last is a software procurement policy that allows us to have a systematic review process for any software procurement by any department within the town. And so we are putting together teams and content to fill out those policies. The last one, the software procurement policy, we don't even have it as a template. And so we need to get in place that policy, a draft of that, whereupon we will review with, I think this team is going to be, we will distribute to this team and get a review team in place to take a look at what those policies are and provide any feedback before we put them forward to as policies that we would recommend to the town adopt. So that's the set of policies.
And to be clear, that none of these are in place currently, so this would new policies.
No, many of the, to be honest, many of the practices are in place, but the policies that kind of back up those practices,
They're not codified.
They're just not codified. They're not in place.
Okay, terrific.
Second major topic is around training. 2 sub areas here: training for new employees, and then the second is ongoing training for both recertifications as well as access to basic IT training and skills. And so we're taking a look at those and how they fit into our HR systems, and what are the pieces of software and services that we currently already have in place or are considering, where for instance, an annual refresher on information security, phishing, and current threats should be a part of the regular training process. So we have a couple of products that Jeff in particular is taking a look at. And so we're going to assess and take a look at those products and see where we have gaps or where we have an opportunity to plug in an information security module in our new employee training, but also our existing employee training. And we do believe that there are some opportunities within resources that we currently have access to be able to do that and make that a standard part of our operations. The third area is around meeting technology. Quagmire, there's lots of opportunities out there around meeting technology, from day-to-day operations of kind of making sure that we've got technology available to all of the employees of the town to be able to kind of execute normal everyday business effectively, talking about whether or not standardization is valuable in that. And then we have, as you move up into public meetings and the recording of meetings and the ability to distribute the recordings of those meetings, and how you do that in an automated or more low effort way than the way it may be today. And then the last and the most difficult topic is large public forums and large public meetings, and how we manage interactivity in those types of forums. And do we have the hardware and software put together to be able to make those good experiences for both employees, town representatives, and citizens? So there are a lot of issues that go underneath this umbrella. For now, we have deprioritized this to be third, to be able to really get input and from other teams that are working on things like the upgrade of the town hall meeting hardware and meeting facilities. There are a number of initiatives that are going on, and we want to make sure that as a team, we can actually provide clarity for us as a broader IT steering committee, provide clarity and recommendations in that circumstance that are going to be helpful and clarifying, as opposed to another voice that actually doesn't provide clarity, but just another voice in a debate. So it's on our agenda as far as meeting technology. The opportunity to lay out very clearly some criteria for what we would want to accomplish, what meeting technology needs to do for the town. And we will pick that up after we've made some progress in both policies and training. The fourth topic that we've discussed in detail, or begun to discuss, is a new topic that has hit Jeff and Kate's desks over the last couple of weeks: multi-factor authentication and our insurance companies' potential our cyber security insurance requirements for multi-factor authentication for every system, specifically email, though. And so we put that on as a topic for us to monitor. Right now, it's really being led by an insurance concern around making sure that we can get cybersecurity insurance, and whether it is one company or whether it is standard, whether multiple companies are requiring multi-factor authentication, not only for systems that have personally identifiable information or have sensitivity, financial systems, et cetera, but everything right down to Outlook and including email systems. So that the use of MFA is obviously growing. How far and where it needs to go within our IT operations, I think, is a current topic of conversation. So it's on the radar screen, but we don't have an action plan against it. We're waiting to hear more on the insurance side. So that's an update from our team in terms of where we are in prioritizing issues, as well as having an action plan to get them back in front of this full team for some recommendations.
Thank you, Jeff. That's tremendous. And I know that you guys met, I think, yesterday or the day before, the three of you, to talk. And that's a good opportunity to just quickly review meeting rules as they pertain to the FOIA, Freedom of Information Act requirements. So anytime you have a committee like this and it breaks into anything formal, like a formal set of subcommittees, that those rules apply to those subcommittees. So it creates a little bit of a bureaucracy, but I had a call with Krista McNamara yesterday, our town clerk, who went through the process. She is more than willing to help do this. And it basically entails the following, which is you got to warn the meeting. In other words, you got to let people know it's coming. You got to have a little agenda, which she can help provide and produce. It's got to be posted, and the public has to have access to the discussion. So for our 4 team leaders, Jeff has certainly done this, and it worked, I think, just fine. I mean, again, a little bureaucracy, but transparency and compliance with those rules is pretty important. So anybody who wants to convene a discussion of our official team, Krista's right on it, and she'll help make it as easy as possible to comply with those important rules. So, okay.
John, a point of clarification on that, just for my benefit, is
Sure.
And I think for everyone's, that those subcommittee meetings don't need to be recorded, but minutes need to be kept and posted. That's my understanding? Is that correct to your understanding?
That is correct, right? This is about warning people that there is a meeting, having minutes of that meeting, and that if someone from the public wants to listen in and hear what's going on, that we have to accommodate that, which is perfectly fine. Okay, next up, our efficiency group, Holly Schultz.
Hi, John and I talked yesterday. I've just returned from over a month away, so we haven't actually met yet or done anything since our last meeting, because I just got back online Monday. So, but I have emailed Robert and Jeff and Jeremy to see when we can pick a good time that suits everybody's schedule, and we'll get together and I guess email Krista to make sure that we're following all the posting rules prior to doing that. But I think our first discussion will be just getting some feedback from Jeff, obviously, and following up on that. I think what I'm hoping is that we can put together a list of both in-house staff from town hall, as well as sort of a representative list from the public, maybe using the RTM and trying to cover all districts with some sample folks that we can pull with a survey that we can pull together here in the next 4 to 6 weeks, that we could launch early September when everybody's kind of back to real life post summer, to get together some solid feedback and statistics on where people think we can improve efficiency, or what some of the needs or feedback are from the actual user base. So that's sort of my high level thoughts on it. But until we sit down as a group and talk about that in more depth and get Jeff's feedback, I think, that could morph once we have a broader conversation.
Yeah, thanks, Holly. And at one point I'd repeat for the group from our conversation is that this efficiency group is probably the least well-defined of all of them, which is broadly, what could we do better, quicker, faster, cheaper, that type of thing, and really nothing more. We may find that to get real efficiency, we need to kind of expand the pool, if you will, and get more of more involvement in other areas of town, not just the Board of Selectmen, namely maybe even the Board of Education itself. So to capture some of what Holly's team might identify, the recommendation might actually be, instead of a specific action, it could be another iteration of this committee that gets a different group of people together to try and explore that further. But one thing she mentioned, which was there's no reason this efficiency can't actually come up with a recommendation that's pretty big and pretty bold. So I want to make sure that we don't rule out big and bold with this committee. Certainly tweaks to efficiency are good, but something bigger may make sense to consider as well. So Holly, thank you for that. Next is our citizen service group, Sean Cavillo.
Yep, thanks. So John, you and I had a conversation yesterday. We've begun talking about it, but we're not as far along. We kind of had a hiatus as well. But you and I spoke yesterday and we sort of agreed that it made sense. First of all, in talking with various people about this, everyone seems to be migrating towards making the interactions with citizens better when it comes to payments. I think that that's one of the key themes. I think there'll be other aspects of citizens interactions that we want to look at, but payments seems to be rising to the top. So in light of that, my committee mate Jen was nice enough to send over sort of the top citizen interactions that involve payments and what the money flow was, because what we want to do is start with the highest impact processes, and some of them have been looked at recently, so obviously maybe those we're not doing as much, but I think we need to have a committee meeting to sort of drill down into those and see how we can analyze the current state of those and see what is the feasibility of improving those to improve the overall citizen experience. So that's where we are.
Yeah, would there be, I don't know what even Kate or others have done about this. Is there any value in survey work to inform the work of this group? I don't know if we've talked about this or just made really anecdotes from department heads and department workers about what their experience with citizens has been like, or I don't know if that type of thing would help inform what you guys are doing.
So if you want to have a professional survey, that's going to take money. We do have SurveyMonkey where we can create a survey and we can post it on the web, distribute as much as possible. The issue there is you might not get as good a representative sample as you want. I think when we've done our own surveys, the best ones we have were when we had a email list that we could send it to. Like we did a survey of parking permit holders, got great response to that. But if we do just a general, put it on the website and ask people to complete it, we might not get a robust response.
You mean 100% of the town citizenry is not focused on the IT committee? I'm shocked and appalled.
Well, maybe if we highlight it and say Great Island Survey, then we get some responses, or, school survey.
Or
Yeah.
we've decided to double our bid for Great Island. Just kidding. Something like that.
Yeah.
Kate, would we be allowed to use that email database that Town Hall has from Parks and Rec or payments? Or just, I'm sure that we have a number of emails in the different departments from people doing payment processes, or whether it's taxes or buying a permit or something else. Do we have access to that so long as the town is sending that out to send a survey?
So I wouldn't have a problem with like the parking permit database. We've used the Parks and Rec database in the past, but that is selective because they do offer people the option to opt out. Correct, Jim? We have people on that list who say they don't want anything but Park Rec emails. I don't think there's a tax database because that's through a third party payer, but I wouldn't have an issue with using those lists.
Great, because for our purposes, that could be great if we could even create a consolidated database, and we'll just put language in the email that goes out that says, if you wish to not receive these in the future,
Yeah.
click here, and we
Yeah.
could, that way we could make sure people aren't getting something they don't want.
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay. All right, then our last group is outsourcing. David got called away for a work meeting. So the basic premise of that is, as I kind of teed up briefly, was twofold. One is taking a look at our current outsourcing arrangements and ask the question, are we satisfied with those? And then the second one was, what else could we outsource? One idea he'd spoken about in particular was simply email and Office 365. Now, it turns out that that's kind of what he does for a living, and that's a major area of outsourcing that his company provides. And I'm not saying that obviously they would do that for the town, but just this idea or this notion that something that was what I would describe as a non-controversial process where nobody cares whether it's outsourced or wouldn't actually feel it, or maybe just would get better service as a result. Those types of things might be, to the extent the town is not doing, could be easy things to consider. I know that when we outsourced Office 365 in my prior company, actually no one noticed, and we ended up saving a fair bit of money. So things like that. I'm not fluent about what our current outsourcing relationships are. So David will get into all that, but that's kind of the plan for that group. I think we're pretty well organized in terms of areas that we could tackle. What I'd like to do for the next meeting, Kate, can you remind us what day that is? August something. You're on mute.
Sorry, August 18th.
All right. So I don't know what everybody's kind of holiday plan is. Is that, I will be around. Is that still a convenient day for everybody, or would you prefer to adjust it? Is that all right? All right, let's keep that day. And what I'd like to do is if we could ask all of our committees to get together, conduct some research, and maybe just have a sharper or more advanced point of view about what you'd like to do next, and how you'd like to get to maybe some preliminary recommendations that we could consider as part of this committee. Ideally, we could get something at our September or at the latest October meeting that would have something that is starting to take shape that we could present to the Board of Selectmen in terms of those ideas. So that would be my desired timeline. And if with any luck, we could actually present those before year end or before the State of the Town meetings in December. Okay. Does anybody have any questions, suggestions, anything else? Holly?
Just one more question. I understand the need to publicize the meeting, but if, for example, we want to work on a draft of a survey that might go out, and we'd like the feedback of everybody on this committee to take a look at that and, kind of say, yeah, these questions work, or hey, why don't you ask this? Is that something we can do through email? And
So what
I'm saying, how much of that can we do behind the scenes, and as long as we're surfacing that work at these meetings?
I think what you could do is if you blind copy the members, and so that they're providing their individual feedback and there's not discussions going back and forth in email. It would just be, you blind copy this all, and, Rob replies back saying, I like those questions. I don't like these questions. And John does the same thing, but they're not going back and forth having a discussion through email. That would work.
Yeah, so in other words, they're the feedback goes directly to you and you're the consolidator of that feedback. We had to do that on the Board of Finance and we do it on the Board of Selectmen as well. So it prevents sort of quote, having a meeting when you're not having a meeting. So that Kate's exactly right. So anytime you want to syndicate something with email, just blind copy your committee members, blind copy the rest of them, blind copy
Yeah.
me, all that kind of stuff. And that way you can get the feedback and input and work you need without violating those rules.
Right.
So,
Great, we
And-
can get something done now.
Yeah, that the blind copy eliminates the temptation to hit reply all.
Yeah.
So it saves us all from, it wouldn't save you from a lot of email, but it saves everybody else from the extra emails as well.
Yeah, thank you.
good. Other
One-
questions?
One other question.
Sure.
We have we're about to do a full website revamp. And I know that there was a draft RFP for that was distributed. I think Kate, you distributed that
I
earlier.
sent that around. Yes, I got a couple of comments. I haven't done anything with it since then because of other things that are going on in town, like buying an island. So I will be getting back to that.
Yeah, but it was something that came up there that I was thinking about could affect kind of a couple of different things that are going on like citizen interaction and efficiency stuff. So
Yeah, and that
anyway,
is-
I just wanted to keep track of it.
Yeah, one of the key things that we're interested in with the upgrade is improving the citizen interaction. So
Good deal.
I can send it out again if people want to see it, if got lost.
Okay, other questions? Any other input? I think we have to approve minutes. Have those been sent around, Kate, or where are we on minutes? Do you-
You know what? Probably not.
Probably not. Okay.
Yeah, so
I'll-
let's we'll have to table that.
Okay, we'll table all that. Other than that, I don't have any other business. So just noting again, our next meeting is August 18th, and I'll certainly be in touch with everybody and our committee leaders between now and then. So we're ready to go for the 18th. All right. Motion to adjourn. Rob, second. Jeff,
Second.
okay. All in favor? We stand adjourned. Thanks. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.